We're really totally amazed that some of these leading lights from all around the world come out here and spend a week with us. None of Design Indaba happens in an impersonal way by an email or a letter. Every single speaker gets met firsthand. It's been an amazing passion play of ours doing Design Indaba since 1995. We are not stereotypical event organizers. We're really part of the bigger mission, putting design, creativity and innovation onto the national agenda.
Indabas such as this not only link us to all of the great creative ideas internationally, but position us to play the role that we really should play on our beloved continent.
To all of you who've come from San Francisco through to Tokyo and everywhere else in between, we've got a fantastic treat lined up for you today. A fabulous experience with an icon of South African tourism. Something about Design Indaba that is absolutely non-transactional. It's really not about business, so we never lead with that. And we try to, as far as possible, de-institutionalize it and de-corporatize it. The South Africans are very warm, hospitable people. Global economy is in the doldrums, but here we are. We were sold out for Design Indaba again, and over and above that, on the expo side, we had a 35% increase in visitors coming through the turnstiles. All too often people are taken by the cult of personality and they come out for the really big names, but always we know there's a top caliber, absolutely fabulous designer that they haven't heard of that blows them away.
The speakers they have are a variety of fields. It's so great talking to people who are in the same industry. They really know what they're talking about. And it's all being together. It's almost like a frenzy. It's really cool.
Well, I think everyone's just hungry to see what the world is up to, and there's a lot to learn, and the inspiration at the end of the day is what counts.
Business leaders, policymakers and design fanatics, welcome to the 12th International Design Indaba Conference.
I know that we're going to be entertained, astounded, challenged and inspired. Enjoy the next 3 days. Thank you.
I love to be in your country, as you know. Sorry for my dress. It was only when I left my hotel that I saw in a mirror that I look a little bit too much like Desmond Tutu. It was not on purpose. I think the gift of design is really confirmed here over these days.
We live in a society where grown-up people like myself are able to wake up Monday morning, pick up a pencil. It's not only an opportunity, it's a responsibility. You have to make solutions, you have to create things which are good for all the people involved.
We have a different approach of design. We try always to question our job.
I want to present this schema. It's the product life cycle. Design is here, between the marketing department and the technical development. Nowadays, 99% of designers are in this position.
It's interesting to be here too, to be able to share all these different opinions, and everyone can bring his knowledge at a step, so let's continue like this.
Technology doesn't have to be dry and boring and geeky.
Yeah.
It can be imaginative and poetic.
One of our missions is to get a lot more creative people involved with this area of science and in areas that they wouldn't normally kind of think of using design.
I couldn't understand why invite so many people to this city through the design conference, but now I got the picture.
This is a good chance to talk with you about the Issey Miyake world.
Design is discipline, which is very nearby society. Society is becoming more a melting pot of many things. You put inside elements which are from aesthetics with things which are about awareness. It depends in each project, capito? And I have to run to see Ferran Adrià. Ciao.
It may seem that cuisine is complex, it is not.
Esto es un jugo de tomate, solo jugo de tomate.
This is tomato juice, plain tomato juice. We have these balloons.
Y aquí tenemos el nitrógeno líquido.
And that is a liquid nitrogen.
Ahora.
And you will see what we get.
Bueno.
That is what we got.
These speakers giving so much of energy and passion and being so generous about what it is that they want to share, it's because of that positive reverb come back from the audience. We have the most appreciative, knowledgeable audience imaginable.
You know, sometimes you get hostile audiences and they're there to see you fail. My deepest fear in life is that I will, on those days when things are going very badly, end up here. I would not give the same lecture in New York. This is it. That's my future home. South African audiences are just so open and hungry and willing to be there with you.
It's such a fresh community. So when you look at that, you really want to see this community strive.
We now go beyond categorization and welcome Nobumichi Tosa from Meiwa Denki.
Meiwa Denki is nonsense company. So I make many nonsense machines.
While humans can only see in front of them, fish can see all around. Wo no me is a special pair of glasses made by attaching fish lenses on both sides of the frame to simulate a fish's vision. Can you see? Yes. I'll try to hit you with this bamboo sword. Okay.
Thank you.
Speakers finish their presentations and they walk back into the hall. You are part of the entire event.
It has allowed for us to have the audience be approachable and talk to you. Like usually in other contexts, people just feel totally scared of doing that. And here it's being more like people are like straightforward and go to your face, and that's fantastic.
You know, one-on-one is so rare these days because of email and phones, and so much will probably branch off from meeting each other at Design Indaba.
You have an opportunity to kind of engage with some of the best people in the world, and that's an incentive for performance.
I'm very proud to show you the first Cape Town Design Route Map. It's a wonderful partnership between Design Indaba and Cape Town Tourism, as well as the Cape Town Partnership. And it really enables visitors to interact personally with the creative sector of Cape Town.
We are a very tight strategic fit from a sponsorship point of view. And we've been able to grow the event given their sterling support over term.
The whole creative process of being involved with Design Indaba keeps us inspired. It helps our product development people get inspiration as far as worldwide trends in design are concerned, how we can apply that into the use of paper and manufacture.
What true inspiration is, it's by looking at something that's really different and getting a new idea for something that relates to yourself. One of the first things I realized is that it's better to work for love than money.
Traditionally, when you design furniture and products, you work on the product and you design the sofa or the light or whatever, and the last thing you do is select colours to go with it. We thought we're going to reverse the whole process, start with colour, and then work with shape after that.
We came across a lot of these houses, of course, in Africa, and they represent social injustice, but for me as a designer, I found a lot of beauty in them, and it's what Dutch design has been a lot about. It's using nostalgia, reusing materials.
Design can be very contagious, and I hope this contagion awakens everyone's sensibilities.
It's clear that there's a new thing shaping up in the world, and I want to be part of that some way.
Currently, practically nothing we do, we can do indefinitely. That is the new role for artists and designers, to use their power of creative envisioning to invent an ecological, sustainable, wealthy future for all the people on the planet.
We would love to share more of the Design Indaba experience, particularly from a developmental angle. How can we give it through to students?
It's nice for students as we haven't been before, and they want to see what the Design Indaba is about.
I saw how small my view of what I was doing was compared to what I see now.
Even though we are studying, we are kind of starting to work for money one day.
Amazing. I've never seen it. So South African people most concerned design in the world, I think.
What we've seen coming out of South Africa is a kind of seamless connection between, what in India they call sort of entry-level sort of culture and great creativity. So it kind of feeds off that very beautifully.
People always say that we have the best design in the world, but we don't use it. It was nice to get their take on what they're trying to do to change their design through their country, and I think we could apply that here.
I would like them to actually stand up there and stimulate debate, issues which concern the people here, and take Africa into the rest of the world.
The design story behind Jewel, there will be a commercial legacy to this project. Design Indaba is all about that intellectual legacy.
I often get asked, do I have a favorite or do I have a best ad? And I always have the same answer. Yes, it's the one I'm working on now.
I really believe that the inspiration that ultimately led to the campaign for the Design Indaba itself reflects the philosophy behind this conference. And this is the commercial.
I live in Ethiopia. I trade in weapons.
We love what we do. We've worked so hard at it. We're not heavily influenced by what happens in Europe. We're African.
This is my idea.
The rest of the world has a lot to learn if they just pay attention to South African design.
We don't have the type of bureaucracy that you have in Europe. It's pretty open. We can do whatever we want.
It's about having really spectacularly talented young people who naturally just output the most amazing things. For young designers to come here and be inspired and be motivated and to want to stay designing and to want to make a difference and make amazing things and change people's lives and change the way people think, that's very important.
Wow, I can't believe that I'm actually on this stage talking to you guys.
I never thought it would be so friendly and relaxed. I mean, all these big names and people that you only ever read about, and you think it's going to be sort of full of tension, but everyone is so friendly and so approachable and in such good mood.
Quite interesting to really see the diversity there. Is bringing something from outside to South Africa is probably the best thing about Indaba.
There's so many different forms of design that we haven't even heard of in South Africa. It gives a whole new meaning to what is design.
I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Linda Ralph Knight at the Design Indaba Masterclass.
The masterclass was about the perception of the last 20 years of design, and also then to look forward a little bit as to the way I saw design going. It was an audience mainly of journalists. It was amazing to find out that the concerns that I've got as an editor were echoed by people here. And it's fabulous sharing stories. I go back positively glowing with new ideas. And it's not just because it's a creative conference, it's because it's here.
It's a high-level conference with high profile in terms of organization, speakers, and the mix of evergreen dinos and inspiring young bloods. I feel it, and I get the goose, the power also of this place and of this motivated people.
You can often arrive with questions, for example, how are we going to impact on the world for real good? And what tends to happen is they help you answer those questions.
We really seem to have been out in a big way. South African media have started to really recognize what Design Indaba is about, and even international media. CNN's got a half-an-hour feature on the Inside Africa slot on design and Design Indaba.
Well, an event like Design Indaba will always be important because a creative environment is always important for any business. You get inspired to go and find something that's new and different.
One thing I can't stand is always kind of talk about inspiration in general terms, but actually, you know, you do get inspired. You have to think about things in a different way, so that's what I get from it.
This is my first time in Cape Town, so I like Cape Town, I like Indaba.
When I went overseas, I had to come to the realization that there are no such things as colored people overseas. When I went to the UK and I said, I'm colored, some guy looked at me and said, oh, you can't say that, that's racist, yeah? You mix rice. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, that's the PC term. Although on the flip side, if you came to Cape Town and said to somebody, hey, are you mixed race? They'd be like, yo, massa mixed race.
All the time when I make a presentation, especially if it's a very special like Indaba, I try to thinking in Indaba, thinking in Cape Town, and what we can do. It can be better, just make something very funny for me. I love telling stories. I would like to be a rock and roll star.
Indaba in South Africa is champion.
There's an energy here that is much more spontaneous. In Europe, people are more blasé. That's really the word, actually, and therefore less fun and less receptive.
Design Indaba was just fantastic. I've been 11 times, and it's always worth coming back to. And when they have complete lunatics like Mariscal, you know, it's great fun. Yeah, it's good. I love it. I'll be back next year.
Coming from a freelance graphic designer, work at home, and coming out and seeing other designers and inspirations and cooks, and it was just really emotional.
A lot of people who now are saying the only way I can really move forward and make a contribution is if I'm true to myself, and that was for me the best about the Design Indaba.
And you know, it was just an incredible experience this week. I'm sure it's just going to
keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I know I'm bringing many people back next year and going to spread the word, so it's very impressed with that.
The whole concept of having private dinners in 20 homes across Cape Town, where our hosts invite 10 of their closest friends, and we send across 2 or 3 of our Design Indaba guests to join them for dinner. You're able then to really share in an intimate setting these thought leaders with the Cape Town creative community. It is an absolute cult favorite.
One of the things that we want to do as a country is to position ourselves as a lifestyle destination. Let's show you how you can actually have a good time South African style.
The whole slogan behind Design Indaba is a better world through creativity. Absolutely every single person that presents there is top of class, a leader in the world. And the kind of stuff that they were reflecting right now, a sense of humanity, a new sense of purpose, a sense of trying to redesign the world.
For me, it's such a luxury to be able to come here for 3 days, to switch off the cell phone and immerse yourself in the best that the world can offer. You take different things out of it.
We have ideas to share. Everyone's capable of design, everyone's a designer. It's just how we apply ourselves. To have a participatory event and as part of my presentation was for me the most important part. I wanted to show you, the reality of 1,500 bags.
For retailers, good design is critical to our success. We've had the privilege over the last couple of years to work with some incredible people who we've actually met at Design Indaba.
There's an increasing demand for creativity from around the world, and certainly indigenous competence is local, competitive, unique selling points. That's what we're looking at, and we've certainly seen a lot of that coming through.
We envision essentially empowering people locally to identify the problems that matter and then to help solve the problems that matter, also inviting everybody else in the world into the process of solving those problems. I think it's a win for everyone. I wanted to announce an effort that we're working on with an organization called the African Carbon Trust. So ACT is Interactive Africa's latest contribution to design.
It's quite intimidating to speak after such very interesting presentations from all over the world. I would like to speak about the theme that I've chosen today, which is architecture and social responsibility. International designers, they've got a lot of ideas, but then South African designers are more practical.
We really have an activist mindset in doing Design Indaba.
This will help at least to generate some debate in South Africa about finding different ways of building, about bringing design into low-cost housing, and we're proud to be the first to have a living example.
The Design Indaba project is not an ethereal, blueprinty kind of project, but it's real, and real people live here. It's an ongoing project.
I'll leave it up to you to interpret. Welcome to Freedom Park.
I think there's a real pent-up demand for design to exist and connect with the world outside the design world. Bruce Mao has this great phrase, it's not about the world of design, it's about the design of the world. And that sums it up nicely. This is a project that really does that. It's a real design project. There's architecture quality here, and yet it's for an audience that typically doesn't have access to that kind of design sensibility and quality. It's about making life normal for people, not as an afterthought, but as part of their daily lives.
This year we're thinking really the focus should be to grow Design Indaba in some of the leading cities in the world. We certainly have plenty of invitations to do that.
Everyone was so interesting that we spent most of our time in the conference. We actually wanted to see everyone.
So many people from all over the world are willing to travel to somewhere that is quite far away. It's testament to how strongly you guys believe in what you're doing. So you must be doing something right.
We visited some townships
Now we are in a wine estate. It's a really big contrast. I got the feeling that the Design Indaba team intended us to see both aspects in a very short period of time.
It's an unbelievable privilege for all of us to be able to welcome you here annually. We want you to come back here as often as you want to.
But there's one thing better for us as South Africans to travel abroad, and that's when the world comes here. Please enjoy what we have.
I was really pleased to see all these different designers and feel this one connection that is all about development, that is all about helping people. Design Indaba had a message to pass and they found the right way to pass it.
This one was really amongst the best. All this passion for work, people are reaching out. That is, I think, what makes this conference so brilliant.
Life without passion is no life. But when I go back to Spain, people are going to ask me, so how was Indaba? And I'm going to have no words how to explain it. I just cannot explain it.
Folks, it was an awesome week, almost a religious experience. It just keeps getting better and better. It's an absolute pleasure to have everybody here for this week. And we've been on this path for 15 years. We've got a lot more work to do to take the energy and the impetus that we derive from this week into the very wholesome projects that we do in the 51 weeks in between.